Hi guys, welcome to my coffee show. My name is Jack. Summer is upon us, time to do some cold brew. Not sure where you're from guys, but here in UK so far we only had like 2 nice summery days and I was waiting for the weather to change. I really wanted to record that cold brew video. I only like a cold brew when it's really hot outside. What I'm planning to do today, I will show you how I make a cold brew using my Kaleido Bean Seeker, and then we will compare that coffee that we get from Kaleido, we will compare it with my Decent. Yes, Decent can also make a cold brew. By the end we will see which coffee tastes better and which machine I would recommend for that specific purpose of cold brewing. I'm not expecting millions of views on this video like we normally get, but it should still be very exciting. If you're as excited as myself, definitely click like, sit tight and enjoy. First of all, big thank you to Joe from Espresso Outlet for sending us this Kaleido Bean Seeker. I will put his links in the description. If you want to buy this machine or any other espresso machine you can think of, check his website. You don't need an expensive machine to do a cold brew, but here on this channel we like our coffee gadgets, we like to experiment with new things, and from the perspective of someone who loves the coffee toys, well, this machine, it looks awesome. It has that light. I use this light for most of my videos because it looks very nice in the background. It blinks, so there's not a steady light. I guarantee you that anybody, when they visit your house, when they see this, they will ask about it. It's a very modern looking, interestingly looking machine. It comes in 2 colors, black, like you can see here, or white. I think I prefer black, but white for certain setups can look very nice as well. It's well built, made mostly out of metal. It's relatively big, so depending where you want to put it, you have to remember it's about 42-43 centimeters height. Thankfully it's very narrow, so it does not take that much space, 15 centimeters and 20 centimeters deep. It comes with the glass carafe and also with the glass brewer. At the bottom of this machine you have a scale, you have inbuilt scale, which helps a lot with the brewing process. This scale communicates with the computer in the top part of the machine and it stops brewing process at the certain weight that you set. You can also use that scale if you want to measure your coffee beans. At the front of that machine, on top, you have a screen, that's a touch screen. You can operate it using a special stylus that it comes with the machine, but unfortunately I lost it. So you can use a finger, you can use like a plastic stick. On that screen you can set extraction volume, flow rate and water temperature. You also have settings menu there where you can turn off or on the lights and the beep, the noise, and you also use the screen to zero the scale. So very simple to use, you don't have to be a coffee genius. As soon as you take it out of the box, you need probably just few minutes and you will be able to brew the coffee. So this machine, what it does, why it's so interesting, it actually cools down the water. That's why they don't really call it a cold brew, they call it ice dripper, cold brew dripper. It creates that unique flavor, unique tasting profile. Now, to brew any coffee, apart from the coffee itself, you also need water. You need access to the water. And this machine does not come with the water tank. So on the back of this machine, you have that rubber cord. You connect it with the machine, one end of it, and then you put it into the water container of sorts. You can use the plastic bottle like myself. I'm sure there are some glass bottles you could incorporate as well, that they would look a little bit better. Like with everything coffee related, you can experiment with different recipes here. I will show you what I normally use and what works for me here. Let's start with the coffee. So I was trying with this one. So that's a Horsham Coffee Roasters. That's the Colombian Geisha. Very nice coffee. If you live in UK, try this coffee. Perfect if you like high acidity, fruity notes in your espresso, in your coffee. For cold brew, it works. It creates interesting cup, but I don't like it. I don't know why, but I don't like super light roast coffees for when I do a cold brew. Let me know in the comments which coffee do you use for your cold brews. For today I will use something more like a medium than light. So that's the St. Martin's Coffee Roasters. I use 18 grams of coffee. I use a pour over settings on my grinder. So here today I will be using DF83V. I'm on a setting number 75. And the settings on the machine machine 200 milliliters, the total volume of water. Volume rate will be 200 milliliters per hour. Therefore, you don't need to be a genius to figure out that it will take about an hour to brew, to complete the brewing. To prepare the brewer, you put the filter first. You don't need to wet it. It comes with kind of a V60 style filters. Those filters, they have like a cotton-like feel to it. So theoretically you can wash them and you can reuse them, or you can try with the regular V60 filters as well. And you also get pack screens. You drop the coffee in and then you cover it with that pack screen. If you didn't use that pack screen, it would create the hole. This paper on top, it helps to spread the water more evenly. You may or may not wet that top filter if you want before you start the brewing. Normally I don't do it. And now once you have everything ready, everything set, check if the scale has been zeroed, and then all you need to do is press the start. When you start the machine, at first you will hear some noise. That cooling system starts working. Later on it's much quieter. After the brewing is over, the machine will make a beep, very loud beep. You will know your coffee is ready. Now, I mentioned that there is a way of doing a kind of cold brew on your Decent. First of all, you will need a Decent, obviously. Then you will need that special pour over basket. Not sure if you really call it a basket because you don't put the coffee in it. It works like an extra shower screen. They recommend 22 grams of coffee. I will use 18 grams of coffee. Basically, I will change slightly the proportions so they are similar in both of those brewers. I will also use the same grind settings. You can use your V60 here as well, why not? But I will use my Oria V4 with the Apex attachment. So if you don't know about Oria V4, well, I have a video about that. But this attachment, it changes that flat bottom brewer into something in between flat bottom brewer and the V60. Now, to set up the brewing here, you take away the water tray from the front of the machine. That creates some space underneath. You can set your scale, then you put your carafe on top of the scale. All you need to do, you press the start and the water starts spreading over the coffee. You can swirl it a little bit in between the brewing so it's extracting evenly. The process itself here, it only takes few minutes. It's much faster, but what you end up with is definitely not cold. You can pour it over the ice, but then it will dilute the coffee, and because you brew it fast and you brew it with the cold water, that coffee will be already not as strong as you would expect from the pour over. So what I would recommend to do, put it into the fridge for a few hours and then you have a cup of cold coffee. I prepared 2 cups in advance. I kept them in the fridge. Underneath each glass there is a letter, B for Bean Seeker and D for Decent. And now I will attempt some sort of blind tasting. I will rotate it many times without looking. I will choose one at random, taste it, choose another one, taste it. We will see what we get. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised here because I've done it a few times before and the differences were more obvious. Maybe because the coffee is so cold. You know, at certain temperature, your tongue, your taste buds, they don't respond well. So I will wait a few minutes, I will taste them one more time and then I will tell you which one I prefer.
A few moments later.
So in this cup you get more of the sourness. The coffee is slightly thinner, but it tastes nice, it tastes good. Now in this cup the sourness maybe somewhere there, but very deep. The sweetness though is a dominant flavor. And the coffee feels thicker. Difficult to say for sure, but it feels like if it has more caffeine here as well. So the cup that I'm choosing today, I think it will be a Bean Seeker, but let's have a look. Is it B or D? It's B. So guys, if you reach to this part of the video, you may as well click like, you may consider subscribing to the channel. Plenty more things coming. We will be getting a new toy from MHW, free bomber to play with soon. We're also getting new filter baskets from Cafmasino, 8 of them I think. Lots of interesting videos. So my final conclusions here today. If you already have a Decent, you probably won't be getting this Bean Seeker because you already have something that can make a cold brew. Obviously no sane person would buy Decent just for the cold brew. This machine can do much more. But if you want to do a cold brew or a pour over, you need that special basket. I mean, there are certain profiles where you don't. You need a carafe, you need your V60 or whatever. With Bean Seeker you get everything. Well, you might need a coffee grinder. You probably could use pre-grinded coffee, but this is a serious coffee channel, so I cannot recommend that. Should you get that Bean Seeker, I think it's a very nice machine to have. Ask yourself one question. How often are you planning to drink a cold brew? If it's something that you don't don't normally do and you're not planning to do it often, then you don't need it. You may survive with like a cheap cold brew apparatus that you use every now and then. If you want to experience a better way of brewing a cold coffee, this Bean Seeker might be something for you. It's simple to use, it looks great, and the coffee tastes really good. If you like that sweetness, if you like those deep flavors, you will love this machine. Now, the few things that might not necessarily work for everybody here, the size. The machine is narrow, but it's very tall. Depending where you want to put it, it might not fit there. The one thing that I don't like here, very long electric cable and that electric brick on the back. It's huge, I don't know where to put it, it spoils the aesthetics of everything. I love those blue colors, they work for me, but I would like the option of changing the colors here. Another thing that many people criticized is the lack of the water container. And the last bit here, as I mentioned at the beginning, if you set up that water volume for 200 ml per hour, it will take an hour to get a glass of cold brew. But if you think about it, even when you use that Decent, which takes just few minutes to brew that coffee, you still need to stick it into the fridge to cool it down. Or if you use those regular cold brew bottles, you have to cold brew for what, 16 hours? What I do myself, if I'm lucky, if I have a time to go back home for like a lunch, I start brewing that coffee as soon as I arrive, and by the time the lunch break is over, I have a cup of cold coffee. Another thing you can do, you can brew it the day before, the night before, and then whenever you want it the next day, you have a cup of cold brew. Why not? Now in the comments, let me know, are you a cold brew fan? Which coffee do you use for cold brew? Which machine, which apparatus you use for your cold brew? But for today, thank you very much for watching. My name is Jack, this is my coffee show, and hopefully I will see you soon. Thank you, bye!
One man, one camera, one mission.